Welcome to our video series on creating and using mini-sites. In this video, we'll look at using more templates and linking between them. This is a template for a direct response mini-site, and as you can see, it's been created in Mozilla Composer. It's a very simple, easy to create design, but also approved and effective design. We use it and we feel it's good. It's not flashy, but it's very usable. We feel it looks professional enough, and in our experience it works well. What I'm going to show you in this video is how to take this template design, this mini-site template, and expand upon it, because you may, of course, even if your mini-site is part of a larger site, in effect it's a microsite, or your mini-site is a subset of a larger content site. But rather than getting bogged down in definitions, let's say you have a mini-site which is more than just a single page. So what you want is some navigation. An example of a site that has a number of mini-sites. If we go to the browser, it's Top 10 Reviews. And they review lots of different products in lots of different subjects. If we go to the shopping cart mini site, this is, in a way, a self-contained site which is part of a bigger site. As you can see, the address is a subset. It's part of the top10reviews.com site, but it's shoppingcartreview.top10reviews.com, and this is a pretty advanced design. Of course, if you're interested in such a design, I don't recommend copying outright, but you can always learn a lot by going View, Source, if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of creating advanced HTML pages. But you don't have to get into such, this is a complicated page to create, and you don't need to get into this really. You may want to, but this really would be an advanced topic. So what I'm going to talk you through is how, in a way, to get similar functionality, but in a much easier way. So let's go back to Composer, and the first thing you want to do is add navigation areas to the page. So this is the headline of the page, and text goes there, subheadings, more text, and so on. What I recommend doing is adding more navigation to the top and bottom of the main section of the page. So place the cursor here, choose Table, insert row above, and OK, then click here again. Table, insert row below, and there's our blank row. So with a row above, let's say you have just 5 pages. You would have a link to home, and a good way to separate links is either to do space hyphen space or space, and I think this is called the pipe character, and space. So it's a vertical line, and you get that line by, you may have a slightly different keyboard than I do, but in the bottom left of the keyboard, right at the bottom left, is the Control key. If you go one key to the right and one key up, you have the backslash key, and this pipe character, this vertical line, shares the backslash key, or it may be the key above Enter on the right side of your keyboard. Anyway, to get the pipe character, just press the Shift key and that backslash key. So that's the backslash, but with the Shift key pressed down, you get the vertical line or pipe. So you may wish to use that instead of the hyphen. But I'm going to use the hyphen in this case. So space, hyphen, space, page 1, space hyphen space, page 2, space hyphen space, page 3, space hyphen space, page 4. And let's center that. Format, Align, Center. And let's say that this is the home page. Generally, even though you include all the navigation links, the page you're on, you don't make clickable. So let's actually just make these clickable now, and then I'll demonstrate what I mean. So let's select this, Insert, Link, and let's type in, the home page is often index.html. OK that. Page 1, Insert Link, page 1.html. Page 2, Insert Link, page 2.html. You can see where I'm going with this. Page 3, Insert Link, page 3.html, and page 4, Insert Link, page 4.html. There we go. What I've done is make those pieces of text clickable. I've turned them into hyperlinks. The home goes to index.html, page 1 goes to page 1.html, and so on. So let's say this page here is, let's say this is my home page. If this is your home page, generally you link to home. You would leave it there, but you would not make it clickable. So let's remove that link. Let's see, if we go to Insert Link, and if we delete that, and OK, there we go. It stops being clickable. Now what I'm going to do is save that. Actually, I'm going to save as, and let's call it Minisite Content Template. Save that. And you see what you can do then is click, hold, and drag that, edit, copy, and add that. Click here in the empty row, edit, paste, and then center that. Format, Align, Center. Then maybe here in the contact and copyright area, maybe add a space or two so it's separate from the navigation, just so it's spaced out slightly. I would advise, especially if you start having longer pages, having navigation links at the top and bottom. And you may want to have the navigation on the left, in the center, or on the right, whatever works best for you. And actually, let's make it Arial font, and let's make it a little bit smaller. Let's make it small. Okay, I think that works fine, so save. And now let's minimize that. And there's our template, our Minisite content template. I'm going to drag that into the browser, and let's take a look. And that's how it looks. So that's a very basic design, but it's very usable, and I feel it works very well. As you can see, very easy to use and very functional. What you may perhaps want to do is here, just as a small design extra, if you place the cursor at the start here, if you go Insert Horizontal Line, and then at the end of the line press Enter, and again choose Insert Horizontal Line. Let's save. Go back to the browser, refresh, and you can see what it does. You may want to do that very small design enhancement. You may decide that works well with what you're doing, or perhaps not. But it gives you an idea how easy it is to start adding navigation to an easy-to-create Minisite template. Finally, how do you actually get this Minisite working? Well, very simply, if we minimize the browser or minimize Composer, and actually, let me just very quickly go back to Composer. We've created 5 links: index.html, page1.html, page2.html, page3.html, and page4.html. So you need to create 5 pages with those names. So let's minimize this, and what I would do, click here, right-click, we want Copy. And then just click here on the desktop. Right-click Paste, and we got a copy with a slightly different name. You can see here that the original is called Minisite Content Template.html, and this one is Copy of Minisite Content Template. So, what I'm going to do now is rename this. Right-click, rename, and click. We don't want to delete the file, so let's try again. Right-click, rename, and we want to call this one index.html. And again, we do copy and paste, and a shortcut to do copy and paste is to hold down the Control key, which is in the bottom left of the keyboard, the CTRL key, click once to select it, hold down the Control key, and while holding down the Control key, press C, the Control plus C to copy, and then press the Control plus V to paste. So you can see that's a very easy way to copy and paste. Control plus C to copy, and Control plus V to paste. So we want to paste 3 more times. So once, twice, and 3 times. And now we have a total of 5 files here. We have our index.html file, and we want to rename this. A shortcut for renaming rather than right-click and choosing Rename, a shortcut for renaming is make sure it's selected, and then press F2, the F2 key, which is in the top left of the keyboard. Then let's call this page1.html, and then press Enter. Okay, select that. Page2.html, press Enter. Select this one, F2, page3.html, press Enter, and select this one, F2, page4.html, Enter. Now, all of these pages are exactly the same because they're each just a duplicate of each other, but they have different names. So now, if I were to drag this index.html file into the browser, and when the browser decides to respond, and here's what our index.html page looks like. So that's how it looks, as you can see. And now if I click on this one, this page 1 link, it takes me to page 1. It's exactly the same, but you can see how it's working. And that's a mistake. Obviously, now I should start customizing this page to make it into whatever I want page 1 to be. So I'd give it a different headline, change the text, change the subheadings, and I would then make the home link clickable and make the page 1 link not clickable because I'm on this page. The point of navigation is that the page you're on at the present time you don't link to that page. But page 2 goes to page 2, as you can see. Page 3 goes to page 3, and page 4 goes to page 4. Of course, this is just a template for creating a mini site with navigation. I would advise you that when you're actually creating the page, to give them better names, much more interesting text. For example, for page 1, I'll click, hold, and drag, then insert link, make the home text clickable. So the home text goes to index.html. OK. And page 1, we don't want that clickable because let's imagine we're working on page 1 and don't want it clickable. Let me try that again. Click somewhere on the text, insert link, select the text, delete, and OK that. OK, you want to give the links better names. So let's say home is fine, but for page 1, just for example, let's say all about coffee. Page 2. Cancel that. Click, hold, and drag across the page 2 link, and page 2 could be all about bread, just for example. And as you can see, as you type the text, the link stays the same. Then, of course, this prompts more questions. Do you want your pages, such as page 1, to be called page1.html, or do you want to give them slightly more meaningful names, such as coffee.html, bread.html, and so on? For example, if I minimize the browser, page1.html was about coffee. So I can press F2 to rename. F2, there we go. Alternatively, of course, I can just right-click and choose Rename, and then I can rename it coffee.html and press Enter, and it has a more meaningful name. But that, in a nutshell, is how you create a mini-site template that is for a mini-site that has content and has more than one page, and how you link between them, and how you can start customizing the pages and the links, and obviously the content itself by changing the headline and the text and the subheadings if you wish.